Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to the Comeback Champion Summit. I am Tanya E. Hood, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. But I was once divorced, broke, and broken. I don't know how many of you have ever poured yourself so deep into a relationship that you no longer knew if elements of yourself were still true. If you read my premiere book, Red Alert, Is He the One? The pocket guide defining the love of your life, then you already know that I got married at 21. And after 11 years of marriage, I found myself going through a divorce, having to raise my 2 sons alone. When I was married to my ex-husband, I changed basics about myself. I changed my hairstyle to fit his taste. I changed the style of clothes I wore to fit his liking. I even stopped eating my favorite fruit. Did you hear what I just said? I stopped eating my favorite fruit to accommodate his needs. See, when you do not have enough clarity of who you are, you will allow others to chip away elements of yourself to accommodate their needs. My divorce, I think, brought up every insecurity I ever had. I was once again that dyslexic, fearful little dark-skinned girl struggling to hide my mess, to hide my pain, to hide my shame. Not knowing who I was cost me. See, when you don't have enough clarity of who you are, it costs you. And that is why I'm here today, because I do not want you to do like I did and walk through elements just like I have to destroy your elements in your being. We're going to build a firmer foundation today. And I have 3 points that I want to talk to you about. Number 1, know the importance of your core strengths. Number 2, know how to quickly assess conflict so you can eliminate it. And number 3, know how to break the barriers that hinder you from reaching your breakthrough. To reset my life and survive my divorce, I took the time I needed to get to know me better. And if you read chapter 1 of my book, then you know I went through several personality tests and self-assessments because I was on a serious hunt to get to know who I was based on insights I gained by doing an autopsy on my divorce. By the way, if you are divorced, I strongly encourage you to do your own autopsy of your divorce because it is in there that you will find elements of your strength. And by taking the time to get to know that, hopefully, and I mean with everything that is in me, you would have not stepped on any of the landmines that I did while I was trying to make my way through the struggle. But if you have, I want you to know that I've already navigated the path, and I will join you on the journey to at least getting to the path of self-discovery. I have taken the time to develop strategies and core strengths that I have used to help my clients gain more insight into their strengths and a window into the motives and values that drive their behavior. Because when you have more understanding of your motives and values, it gives you insight into the motives and values of others. And that will give you more understanding about why people do what they do. And when you know that, that is where you will be able to quickly assess conflict so that you can eliminate it and break the barriers that hinder you. I am an electrical engineer by discipline, a project manager by trade. My analytical, logical mind gives me the natural ability to organize chaos. But I didn't always know that these were strengths. See, I was led to believe that my cautious nature was hindering, and my desire to be strategic was me just wanting to do too much. But if you have a cautious supportive nature, I want you to know that that is a strength. And if you are assertive and action-oriented, I want you to know that that is a strength. And if you are loyal to a fault, wanting to make sure that everybody around you is okay, I want you to know that that is a strength. When you have clarity of who you are, then you will not be in a position like I was, not knowing who I was, that cost me so much. If I knew then my core strengths and how to assess the motives and values of others, then I would not have allowed conflict to destroy my marriage, to destroy my lifestyle, and try to destroy fibers of my being. The course and strategy sessions that I have developed that have helped my clients make a strategic impact in their lives is what I share and offer. And I would love to go deeper into this conversation with you, but we have to move on to number 2. Knowing your core strengths will help you gain insight. And all of us walk through a process when we enter into conflict. Some of us choose to focus on the people to help us feel better while we try to figure out the problem. Some of us analyze the situation and develop a process in order for us to get back to being whole. And then if all else fails, some of us decide it is survival of the fittest. By going through the strategies and core strength sessions that I provide, I give you insight into your your conflict sequence, because you have a natural flow that you walk into. And when you get more understanding about your conflict sequence, I give you awareness of how to look for the motives and values in others. That way, you will be able to eliminate the conflict that arises quickly. And I provide you with the most effective way of communicating when that situation arises. And I do this both personally and professionally, because let's face it, there's conflict on our jobs as well. So, knowing your core strengths and knowing how to quickly eliminate the conflict that arises are the first 2 points. Now for number 3. Number 3, knowing how to break the barriers that hinder you from reaching your next level. This part right here is going to require you to step outside yourself to a being greater than yourself. And I don't know if you have a belief in a being greater than yourself, but what I do know is that there will come a time when you will encounter a moment that you will not have the ability to do anything about. Family, friends, and loved ones will not be around to support you. All other areas of your life that you have ever gone to before will fail you. But if you have a belief in a being greater than yourself, then you will have strength you never knew existed. You will have assurances you were unaware of. And you will have empowerment to walk through the process. For me, that being is Jesus Christ. I have been on the religious roller coaster ride. I have been a Catholic, a Lutheran, a Mormon. I have been a Methodist, Baptist, and even non-denominational. I have studied Egyptology, Scientology, Buddhism, and Islam. After all that I have been on with my religious roller coaster ride, I have learned that they all point back to a basic instruction book that my grandmother told me about when I was little. So I decided when my moment hit me, because I'd already called family, friends, and loved ones. Because after my divorce, I found myself unemployed with a little over $5 in my bank account and some freezer burned chicken nuggets that was the last of the meal to feed my kids. And while I was pulling together those extra ketchup packets, and I used a little bit of mustard to change the taste, And I took the mayonnaise jar that had just a little bit in the bottom of it. You know, the kind where you need to get the big spoon so that you can slowly turn it in the palm of your hand as you get as much mayonnaise as you can out the jar, because you're not sure if it's enough to really do anything with. Well, that's where I was. And after I fed my children the chicken nuggets and secret sauce, I went into my bedroom. I closed the door behind me. I sat on the edge of my bed and I pulled open my Bible, because my grandmother told me that when you enter a situation that is greater than you have ever encountered, you need to have a little talk with Jesus. Well, I had a lot to say to him that day. And as I poured out my heart and all of what was occurring to me, Matthew 6:33 seemed to jump off the page at me. I'd read that scripture so many times before. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. That day, I got a different understanding of what that scripture truly meant. And after, I don't know how long, a girlfriend of mine knocked on the door when I went to answer it. And she stood there with a bag of groceries in her arms. And she said that in her quiet time that morning, she asked God to show her where he was working so she could join in. And that day was the day that Jesus became real for me. Because up until that time on the religious roller coaster ride, I never knew that God was so real that he would meet you in the middle of your mess to help you get a breakthrough. That day, I discovered that having a being greater than myself would help me in other areas as well. Because I later went to the rental office of that 2-bedroom apartment that I was in because I was going to be evicted. I just finished letting you know I was unemployed. But when I went into the office, I no longer had the fears that I once had in my past. This time, I just went simply to get a little bit of understanding about how long it would take before the sheriff's department showed up to put my stuff on the street. And when I asked the lady, she said, "Let me pull your file." And when she pulled my file, she said, "Your rent is current. How can I help you?" Well, I asked her for a copy so I can have a record for myself. But that day, God really let me know that when you seek him first, any barrier that stands in your way, he will overcome. And he later showed me when he cleared up $35,000 worth of debt that was left to me in the aftermath of my divorce. And when he gave me a job that came just as those groceries my girlfriends gave, it would last about 3 months. So in that time, I got a new job and God showed up just in time. So I learned. And in that moment, it was really clear to me. And I want to share so much more of this story, but I give you more insight in chapter 7 of my book right now, and I need to start wrapping this up. So let me share my screen. And let me know. You can see the screen. There it is. So what we have talked about today and what I want to leave you with, because if you were tiptoeing over elements of my past, these are the 3 things that I want you to know. Know the importance of your core strength. Know how to quickly assess conflict so that you can eliminate it. And know how to break the barriers that hinder you from reaching your next level. You can find me on my website, tanyaehood.com. And these are the various social media platforms that you can find me on. And because I know the importance of having a strategic impact in the moment that you need it, I am offering unlimited coaching sessions for 1 full year. Go to my website, tanyaehood.com, right after this, so that I can join you on the journey. And when you reach out to me, I'm giving away a free chapter of my book. And if you're anything like me, you would want to read the whole story. There is a companion guide that goes with the pocket guide, and I put them in bundle packages for you. So with that, I want to say thank you. I've enjoyed this time, and I'm hoping that this has given you some insight that will help you maximize your life. This is Tanya Ehud, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.